We first met, I think we met when you were doing Facilities Integrate, right?
Yeah. That was 2000 and... It's been at Honeywell for 5.5 years, so...
14?
Yeah, 14, 15, yep.
Yeah. So what, were you involved or like come across the AV industry before that? Or was that like your first intro into dealing with AV people?
So my background is I was in the music industry in the UK.
Right.
So I've been a musician all my life.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. So musician all my life, so I played the cello, the drums, the piano, I sing.
You play the cello?
Yeah, got one at home.
What? Really? Oh my God.
So
That's embarrassing, okay.
So I was a musician all the way through my life. Mum plays every instrument under the sun.
Wow.
And so yeah, music. And then I went to university to study music business and management.
Oh.
So my mum and my sister went down the performance route. I'd done performance for years and years and saw that there was more money to be made, I guess, in the business side of it.
So it was a financial decision to study that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so essentially that then opened me up to some great exposure. It was based in Brighton. And the music scene in Brighton and the South Coast is fantastic. And I started out in kind of enjoying rock music, Linkin Park and Green Day and all that kind of stuff. But then it slowly...
All the good stuff.
Yeah, then slowly moved into the kind of electronic dance music scene. And especially in Brighton, lots of drum and bass down there, lots of house music. So me and a mate started a radio podcast for drum and bass on the Northbrook student radio. We did that every Wednesday for about an hour and a half.
Really?
And then from that kind of got a bit of exposure to other people in the industry and started talking to them about putting on club nights and DJing and stuff like that. So did a lot of DJing all throughout Brighton.
Yeah.
And then my last year of uni, there was a project that we had to do, which was kind of build a small mini business essentially, and see what you can do, to basically write your thesis.
Right.
And so me and one of the other guys in the course actually started an artist development label, which we called Starfire Sounds.
Yeah.
And so we went into Brighton and kind of was sitting in pubs and watching live bands play and kind of going,
looking for talent.
Looking for talent. Essentially, we were an A&R and development kind of label essentially, and we had a little kind of record label type thing on the side, which was through the university. Right. So we'd put out a couple of multi-genre EPs.
And were there like recording facilities at the uni as well?
And there's recording facilities there.
Through those facilities and put it out on your label.
But then we also met a guy who could properly mix down tracks and stuff as well. So we spent a lot of time in his studio, which was just up the road. Yeah. So we just kind of had this big group of musical, like-minded people that were like, okay, cool, we can do this.
Dope.
And so we picked up this band. They're called Stax. They're a 5-piece indie band. Okay. All guys, all kind of late teens, early 20s. Yeah. Fantastic music and fantastic lyrics, and had this following already of kind of cute girls and stuff that went, okay, clearly there's some
there's something there.
There, right? That's always helpful. And so from there, we actually started to develop them and take them to get recordings. We got them into shows all around Brighton and got them bigger and bigger, and ended up at the Haunt. I think the biggest crowd we pulled was like 400 or 500 people. Wow! After about 12 months of working with them.
Sick.
So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Music kind of led me into the AV side of things.
Yeah.
And the reason I fell into Facilities Integrate was because I also had the event management piece, because I'd be putting on gigs and stuff like that. So organising with venues and marketing and getting people out. Like I'd stand out in the freezing cold in the snow in the winter. Yeah. For the first gig I ever put on was a drum and bass gig. Yeah. And the only slot I could get was the 23rd of December.
Yeah, nice.
So I was outside.
All the frothers before Christmas.
Pretty much. So I was outside flyering, shivering cold. I got 2,500 flyers printed every day and night. I was outside events flying. I was in the streets flying to everyone. And managed to get a decent enough amount of people to come down. So that then kind of went, okay, now how do I take that into the business world? Yeah. And because of the music side, the AV side always interested me. Yeah. So pro audio and LED screens and massive, deployments of the stuff.
Big cool stuff.
And going to festivals and stuff like that. That was the stuff that really took me. Yeah. So all that kind of jazz was so interesting to me, and that's where AV, I guess a bit of knowledge came from it, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm an AV guy,
No.
but I'm an audio guy
you love
and
it.
a visual guy.
Yeah. Well, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Man, our stories are so similar.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, it's good. Eh?
No wonder I like you so much. Nice.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
AV
Yeah.
kind of.
It seems like a lot of people come from that space, like come from the music. Like for me, it was the studio side.
Yep.
And then I was like, all right, stop playing games now. Try and earn some actual money to have a family and do all the grown-up stuff.
100%.
And then that's how I found, the commercial side of AV.
Yep.
Yeah, it's cool. It seems like no matter where, like obviously you're from the UK, there's obviously heaps of South Africans and stuff in AV in New Zealand.
Yep.
No matter where you're from,
You've got
all these people have these like joint story of going, all right, commercial AV it is, and like landing on it, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So I wonder, like, what if we all come from a similar space, and like you're in sales, I'm in sales. What do you think is like, if there was one thing you were to say that people would be missing from AV?
Yep.
What do you think that would be? Because like if we're all coming from a similar space, we might all be missing the same thing. And I'm interested to see what you think about that, because I know from my own personal experience, building businesses and stuff, like about my business ventures with my dad.
Yeah.
And we bring opposite things to the business, which is great. That's what you want, right? In a business partner. So I wonder is there something that you think is missing?
It's a really good question. I think one of the main things is probably the appreciation of what AV solutions can bring to a business.
Yeah.
You look at proper good quality, even just video conferencing, right? Over the last few years, that's grown in a massive way.
Yeah.
And people will still go after the small, cheap brands just so they've got some sort of solution there. But if you actually go to a higher end, you can get, I'm trying not to do product placement.
No, I don't give a shit. Yeah. Say your favourite.
You get a higher quality of video, of connectivity, of audio.
Yeah.
In a lot of those ways, and what that can bring. Like, I'm an audiophile, right? I've prayed to be able to afford a Bose headset for many, many years.
Yeah.
And actually, then you get older and you go, oh, okay, Bose isn't the greatest, but it's still got fantastic quality, and you pay more money for it.
Yeah.
I think there's you look at a construction project, right? For example, from what I know from what Honeywell does.
Yeah.
You've got the technology stack that's always at the very end of a project.
Yeah.
The AV seems to be that nice to have. Why is it not a necessity?
Yeah.
Like having electricity.
Yeah.
Like having mechanical air conditioning, inside a building.
Yeah.
Why is that the bit that gets cut? And I think a lot of businesses miss out. You look at the new 1NZ building. They've gone AV technology. They're a technology business. Fine, that makes sense.
Makes sense for them.
But are they not seeing? A company's not seeing where technology is going and where it's actually going to help them.
Yeah.
To be
better. Yeah.
Essentially.
And use it to their advantage.
Yeah.
Do you think that happens more in New Zealand because we're always rubbing our coins together and moths flying out of our wallet, or do you think that happens in the US? And like I feel like when I look at spec sheets and RFPs and tenders and stuff like that, when it comes down from the US, she's chockers with all the good stuff.
Yeah.
And then what inevitably ends up happening in New Zealand, and possibly, I'll tell you in 3 weeks when I get to Australia, but you work in Australia, like, does all that stuff get ripped out in favour of the cheap stuff to save money?
Not as much.
Not as much in Aussie? Right.
Definitely not.
But here it's
the easiest thing to go.
It's the easiest thing to cut on a project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is criminal.
Yeah.
As you and I will obviously attest to. But it doesn't get ripped out as much. You look at even stadiums over in Australia. You've got Marvel Stadium that's got fantastic AV setups. They've actually gone pretty hard with proper speakers in and around the whole stadium.
Yeah.
The screens, they've gone, this is how you build an experience for people.
This is a world-class arena.
We want to be a world-class arena.
Yep.
And then you go and look at what they've done in Christchurch. Great looking stadium. And they've got a roof on it and fantastic.
Yeah.
But the AV piece seemed to be very lacking compared to like looking at Lo-Fi Stadium in the US, which has got jumbotrons all over the place, and you know, massive, ginormous, over 100-inch panels of screen and stuff like that. You know, and obviously that's on a bigger scale. There's more people going to that stadium. So say the average stadium's 100,000 seater. Christchurch is whatever it is, 40,000 or 50,000.
So much smaller.
So much smaller. So do they look at an ROI potential and go, maybe we can't get that?
But then if the experience isn't there, then you don't get the people coming back, and then it's chicken and egg, right?
It's just a horrible cycle. You just get into it, and if you start the cycle, then you never get off.
Do you think that kind of is part and parcel of something I think about a lot, which is that people get stuck. Stuck's the wrong word, but people get used to what they're used to. An example of that is like I came up with John at Edwards, right? So John loves DAS. He came up, they were, in New Zealand, you couldn't buy speakers in the 60s, so you had to import parts and make your own, and he did that with DAS. Jans in Australia did that with JBL. Like, do you think when you come up in a certain environment, you get used to doing things a certain way? For example, like, if someone was to say to me, I'm putting a new system in at my bar, what system? I'll be like, go talk to John at Edwards and get some DAS, But, like, I can talk to someone else and they'll be like, go get a Martin Audio, or go get a, probably not, but go get something else. You know what I was about to say. Do you think that comes into it when people are speccing things? Like, they can't be, the word escapes me, but they can't be what's best for this specific environment, because they're stuck on, I love this, so this must be the best.
Because people only know what they know. And so if they know that a brand is solid and reliable, and they know how to put it together and configure and design it, then they're going to stick with that.
Right.
Obviously there's multiple brands. It's the same across everything. It's the same across the security industry, the building management system industry. You've got so many different brands that if you're not out in the market always talking to people and learning and going to these road shows and going to these events that all these suppliers are putting on, how are you going to know? And that's part of my job, is getting in front of consultants to go, hey, there's a system that does this and the system does this. Have you even seen these? No. Okay, here's how I can help to educate you on also learning this side. Inevitably, everyone's time poor, and they go, well, I've spent enough time learning this system. I had an old estimator at an old company who knew exactly how to put one brand of access control together and one brand of video management system together.
And that was
so every single tender that came in, even if it had other brands specified, he'd go, that's the best solution, because that's what I know. And that's what our delivery capabilities were potentially best at, because we'd sold so much.
And I mean, to be fair, probably, I don't even know, I was going to say most of the time, a percentage of the time anyway, is probably fine. But when you've got your blinders on and you're not doing, what's best for the client, inevitably someone's going to end up with something that's not fit for purpose.
And not what they wanted and not what they dreamed of, and that's our job as salespeople. We have to go out into the market and get all of these different systems, and then we've got to go and, right, okay, now we do the technical evaluation, now we do the pricing evaluation, what's stacking up. Like, I do quite a few comparisons across different systems and then present that to the client and go, this is cheaper, but because, and doing,
this is why.
And that's I think what good salespeople and people should do, to give that client options. Yes, they might have one system in mind, but did you know there's this that does this, or this that does this?
Because usually the system that they've got in mind is only because Bob has it down the road.
100%.
It works for Bob. So
I went into Jeff's office yesterday and it looks amazing. So now I want that.
Well, one of those, please.
And but he might have had his mind on something that he saw 2 years ago that was also amazing. And that's another thing. If you're in sales, you've got to keep refreshing people's mind about why your product is there. And it then comes down to a timing thing. Okay, do they have something ready now? No, probably not. Does that change in 3 months and you haven't actually gone to see them in 6 months?
Maybe.
Do you miss that opportunity just because of that as well? And relationships. But
how do you do that in a way, like when you're comparing, like, I always, like when I was, my first job was selling guitars at Lewis Eating. I've talked about this before. And I remember my boss always used to say, if you criticize the competition, if that's your way of selling, you're not a very good salesman. So how do you sell to someone in a ethical way without bulldozing someone else's brand in the process. Because another good reason, the industry is so small, the chances of you having to sell that exact product in the future are probably high, like realistically, unless you go sell something else.
100%.
So how do you do that in a way that you're not going to either wreck your competition, who you might end up working for in the future, or wreck your relationship yourself? Is there a go-to way for you that you do that?
I would, and it takes time, but I think the more time you put into it, the better result you're going to get, is going deep into products features,
right,
and drawing comparisons where there are, and drawing the differences out, and actually seeing, okay, does that have a better outcome for the client on that specific thing? That speaker can actually hit a much higher and clearer dB than that, or whatever it looks like. That's kind of the only way I do it. Like you say, every industry, and I'm across multiple, so I've got to kind of make sure I'm keeping the relationships where it should be. I wouldn't say I have massive distaste for any brands. It's just I know what some of their weaknesses are and what some of the other strengths are. And it's how you point those out in a way that you're not bagging the competition out. You see, one of my favorites, I did a lot on music advertising while I was at uni, especially during the Super Bowl and things like that. And the US and Europe have laws where you can't actually bag out your competition.
Really?
You're legally not allowed to do it. Whereas here, some of those adverts are the best. The ones where Apple and Samsung go against each other, or even Hilux versus Ranger.
Ranger,
They're just completely bad. And they're some of the funniest, so they're the greatest.
They're memorable, and that's what ads should be, right?
Exactly. But it's interesting that, you can't do that over in other parts of the world. And, I guess they're big enough companies they can do that, whereas here we're not going to go, I hate that brand, so I'm just going to make sure everyone knows it and try and draw. But again, do you pigeonhole yourself and you go, everyone just looks at you going, no, you're just miserable, so I'm not going to really
and that's what's great, like you put that thing together that we need to do more of, and now I'm leaving, but to getting everyone into a room and to take and it's almost like a political system where we've got all these parties and we're all, but we're all just people that like the same thing, so we should all just
actually converse and swap stories and what is the good and the bad. So perfect example, I've been working a lot in the airport industry. All the airports across Australia and all the airports across New Zealand, they have monthly forums between all the operators.
Really?
And they talk through everything. What technology is working, what's not, which contractors are good, which are bad, so that they're recommending to their peers what is going well and what isn't,
and how to do better,
and how to do better. That's meant to be the main thing about it. They might say, oh look, this guy stuffed up here, but the rest of the time it's actually been a very good relationship.
Did the Auckland airport guy get a better drainage guy from someone else a couple of years back?
I think they listened to Wellington.
That's how you get rid of water.
So there are forums like that, and that's because of that. I'm like, right, we should do that more in these. We shouldn't be so siloed. But then there's competitive space and there's competitive advantage, and so you look at those things.
And IP and blah blah blah.
And that as well. But just choose what you're going to be sharing and not, or don't get loose lips with a couple of these down you.
They're not invited. One beer for you, mate.
Or maybe he is because he blabs on after about four of them.
Be strategic about who you buy beers for.
So that can work quite well. I used to go to, back in my previous role, I was at a security integrator, and we'd go to these government tenders. You'd have 20 different integrators turn up to this one meeting to do a site walk, right? And so the conversation was very limited because you didn't want to ask questions that might give away information to your competitors. You didn't want to say, and there's ways that you can be inclusive and get a group forum and get together and have those things. But then there are other people who maybe have been in the industry a long time. They've said something to someone, and then that person is going to take in their client or what.
I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of that, right?
Which is a shame, but
it is.
Hopefully we're more open in the AV industry.
Maybe one day. Is there a kind of on that, well, I mean, similar, like when you're talking about installations, there's one, like I have one that sticks out in my mind as, I don't want to say bad, because it was probably my biggest learning point from a sales point of view.
Yep.
But has there been something that you've done that has just been either a write-off, or you wish you could redo it, or you learned something from it, or...
I'd say learning from, yes. Yeah. I mean, and there's many examples. I'll use the most recent one right now.
Yeah.
I sold a $1.5 million project in 2021.
Okay.
And the job's still going. It should have been an 18-month project, and then you had COVID, and then you had other things that as soon as you lifted the hood on this facility, there was a whole heap of mess that you weren't able to ascertain on a site visit and the pre-works. So then you've got to go into negotiation again and go, well, unless you guys enable us to do this work, we can't complete this project. Yeah. And then that delays and delays and delays. And so, that's a job that we're still currently losing money on, but we're not walking away from completing that job. We're going, okay, we signed up, these are the contract terms, we will finish this job. Yeah. Try and salvage as much as we can from it, but we'll lose money on it. And that's unfortunately sometimes the lifestyle of doing business, and that's fine. It's a risk versus reward job being a contractor and a system integrator. So,
and when your reputation's on the line,
100%.
and you've got contractual obligations, then you need to.
Again, in a small market, you've got to you've got to still pull out all the stops to get something done. Yeah. So that taught me a lot around. Yeah, I also fought a lot of pushback internally in my business to win that project. Right. And for me at the time, it was a landmark win for what I wanted, but what I didn't think about is the full long-term effects of clearly what everyone else maybe had an inkling on, and so you learn to take in a lot of points of view on this stuff, because you're dealing with lots of money and lots of things that can go wrong. Yeah. So it's made me a more considerate and collaborative person, I guess. Yeah. Which is a good thing. Yeah. Which I thought I was, but then you learn, and then you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's always learnings, right?
There's always learning, and that's the great thing about what we do, right? There's so much to learn. You definitely can't know everything. No. And the way that technology is moving at the minute. Yeah.
Quick. Yeah. Do you find there's like, I guess on that, learning from others, and especially guys that have been in the industry for a long time, as a younger guy, we're a similar age. Yeah. Do you find that there's like some head-to-head there with like the older guys of like, this is how things are done, and the younger guys that are like, you're old, and that's not how we do stuff now? And like, do you think it's easy to find middle ground with the older generation in like a reasonably technical field? Like they've obviously got heaps of experience, and we've got the energy, and it's about finding the middle ground. You find that's easy, and in a big organisation that has got probably a few grey hairs in it.
Yeah, there's a few. There's a lot of people with longevity in the business. I think it comes down to how open are you as a person and the way that you speak to them. There's always going to be a bit of friction. There's always people who are ingrained in doing things their own way, don't want to change, and that could well be representative of their personal life as well, and that feeds into their work life. Yeah. So, in a short answer, no, I wouldn't say it's easy, but you work out ways to overcome that, and I guess it comes down to an education piece again as well, and you go, well, can I have 10 minutes of your time to show you why I actually think this is a good idea? Yeah. And, sometimes they go, and sometimes they go, well, actually, no, I don't believe what you're talking about, and so, it is what it is. Yeah.
It's a communication piece more than a.
I think it's a communication and an education piece if you can, or if you've got the technical ability to be able to educate someone on something. I mean, everything's a technical sale these days. It's not just we just don't go out for beers with people and then they buy from us. That's not how it works anymore. No. You've got to be able to talk solution and have the confidence to do that, to build that trust with a client. Yeah. Otherwise, you're out of the job pretty quickly.
Can we still have the beers though?
I think so.
Yes.
I think it works. Yeah.
Cheers. Do we, what then, seeing as we can't just drink beers and get people to buy stuff from us,
Yeah.
what, in a broad sense, from a sales sense, I guess now, because I'm in sales and I'm genuinely interested. I actually love sales.
Yeah.
I don't like the word sales because it has negative connotations, but I actually do genuinely love sales. So what do you think success looks like when you're selling in this pretty heavily commoditized, competitive industry?
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
Client satisfaction is probably, and I know it sounds cheesy as all hell, but it genuinely is when you've got the ability to give a client what they want for the budget they want, which 9 times out of 10 they don't align all the time. So actually it's kind of almost a mecca where you go, you're paying the money that it should be and you're also getting the solution that you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often.
No. It's always that negotiation.
Yeah, especially in in an AV sense, there's always going to be something that's going to get cut at the end of the day, or they go, we've got to change a brand to bring that down, but we still get the functionality we wanted, but it might not have the same end product or whatever that is. That would be the best thing that I find about success. It's not about, that's a massive job, so that's going to underpin everything I do. Although that's what my new role is, but that's what they want me to do.
That's in the title, major.
I actually quite enjoy the more collaboration you have with a client and with your suppliers, and being able to be that middle guy that's kind of bouncing between things and succeeding and making progress. Because a lot of times these things just kind of stall or they hit a wall. Case in point, what I'm going through this afternoon, we've got a price that's too high and we've got to get it down. So now I've got to go back to my team and back to the suppliers and go, what can you do to bring this down so we can get there?
There it is.
Yeah. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Next round's on. Yeah, that's tricky, eh?
It is tricky.
Yeah.
But obviously success personally is, right, if I hit that quota, then I'm going to get paid, and hopefully then projects my career onto higher things. That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's how I kind of
I mean, that's happy clients and successful jobs is the end game, right? And it doesn't matter really what side, you're in major projects, obviously. You deal with the big guns, but really, in terms of a successful sale, a sale's a sale, right? And a happy customer's a happy customer.
Yeah.
Unless you're specifically trying to reach a certain target, which of course all salespeople are.
Yeah.
You've got to see the wins as wins, right? And that's just build from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Nice. All right, last one, because I know you've got to go and get that quote down, mate. What if you're running up a system? And this is, I'm going to ask everyone this. This is going to be my thing, all right? If you're running up a system, an audio system, right? What's your go-to song that you would put on
That's such a good question.
to check it?
That's such a good question.
Mine is, I've got a bunch.
Yeah. I was just thinking I had like 4 already.
Yeah, but one of mine would be, I bet you look good on the dance floor.
Why? I know you're asking the questions here, but
No, I don't give a shit. I have listened to that song on I've got it on vinyl, I've got it on an unreleased demo vinyl,
Yep.
I've got it on CD, I've listened to it thousands of times. I know it back to front. I can play it on guitar.
Yep.
It reminds me of a time in my life that was, fun and, did some things.
Yeah.
When I was playing in bars and stuff and playing guitar and drinking beers and, so it has that emotional connection for me, but I know it so well. I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I know what I'm listening for, and I can then take that on a small system if I'm listening at a smaller level, or if I'm listening to a line array. I know what it should sound and should feel like.
Yep.
That's
Nice.
probably why I would choose as one of my tunes. Yeah.
That's a good answer. I know in the recent past, sound engineers do test a few tunes.
Yeah.
So which is obviously a good thing. And there's, probably 3 or 4 that I would do. I mean, one of them would be the band stacks that I was developing, right?
Sick.
Because I spent so many hours in a recording studio with them, and actually I was sometimes saying to the producer, going, "Hey, can you tweak that and can you tweak that?" Because you hone in it and you hear it, right? So that'd be one of them. But it's really hard. I would do a drum and bass track that I know very well that has a lot of highs and lows.
Yeah.
So that you kind of make sure you're getting that full spectrum that you need.
Yeah. Any particular one?
Which there's what is that song?
These are all going to go on a Spotify playlist.
Yeah, nice.
So when people are running up a system, they can go through everyone's tracks. And
that's a good idea.
Get the vibe.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It would probably be something like Becky Hill.
Oof. Voice on it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're getting the
vocal
high,
range.
and then you're getting the drum and bass mix on the bass, and I think that would probably be one of them.
Okay.
You've just got such a range there to get
to play with.
Yeah, and to get tuned into to make sure that all of the highs, mids, and lows are all singing as they should be.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah. Dope.
Yeah, I think so. Just trying to remember what the track's called. Why can't I remember the track?
We'll get it in.
Yeah, we'll get it in.
It'll be on the playlist.
I think that would be, because I'm more liquid drum and bass as well. So for me, there's always a vocal on the top. There's always some, decent bass line at the bottom. I'll go with that answer.
All right. I love it. All right. Thanks, man.
All good.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Let's drink beers in Australia.
Absolutely. Sounds like a plan.
Cool.
Keen for that.
Thanks, man. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.